Now, over 2,000 people die from skin cancer every year in the UK, with many people finding it too difficult to check their own moles. More than 1 in 10 of us simply don't even bother to take a look for warning signs of melanoma. Well, we're joined this morning by Liz McClarnon, who's fronting a new Boots campaign urging friends to check on each other's moles in hard-to-reach places. Liz joins me along with Dr. Anu Bhatia. Correct pronunciation. OK, good. Thank you, both of you, for coming in this morning. So you're fronting this campaign, Liz. Why have you got involved?
Well, first and foremost, I have moles all over my body, and not long ago, my father had a mole removed, and you know the point there was that if it was removed, you know, it was removed in time, and it was all fine, and you know it's gone now, and there's no worries. But if it would have been left, then you know if he didn't check things like that, then you know, things could have got a lot worse. And I just think it's so important. It can go from nothing, you know, to getting something removed and no worries to losing your life. It's serious stuff.
And you say that you've got a lot of moles. Have you had yours checked out?
I do. I have mine checked out. I check them all the time, you know, ask my mum, ask, you know, close friends, girlfriends, and boyfriend, but usually I do get them checked out by a doctor before I go on holiday, just to check.
Yeah, and how can we check for what is an abnormal mole?
I think what you have to do is be aware of moles that have changed. We tend to use the ABCD classification, A meaning asymmetry, so if you sort of cut the mole in half, the two sides are different. B is the border. With a melanoma, it tends to be quite sort of jagged and irregular, and sometimes it can have a halo around it or be quite red. C is the colour. They tend to be very deeply pigmented, but often have sort of different colours inside them. And D is diameter. So basically, they're big. They can be more than sort of ½ centimetre to a centimetre. Also, what if the mole changes, if it becomes itchy, if it starts to bleed, if it's elevated? These are all the signs to look out for.
And we should go straight to the doctors, and it may involve a small operation. Liz, your father had this operation to have one removed. How long was he in for?
Oh no, it was literally just, you know, nicking it off, and that was it.
And just finally, how do we deal with the basic point that we all really like being brown at the moment from school children? I mean, you know, look at the colour of all of us, really.
Yes, yeah.
What do we do to keep safe?
Please don't go on a sunbed, and please take care in the sun. You know, don't go out between 11 and 3. Protective clothing, sunscreen, sunblock, and just go and get the tan out of a bottle.
The thing that I do, you know, since a friend of mine had a scare with something, which was just before Christmas, I have completely and utterly given up sunbeds. You know, we used to,
we used to go on them all the time in Atomic Kitten.
I did, yeah, basically. Yes.
We could tell. You all looked great. But for more on the warning signs on moles to look out for, as well as essential sun safety advice, log on to our website at gm.tv.
Now, more than 2,000 people die from skin cancer every year in Britain, but more than 1 in 10 of us simply don't bother to check our moles, which can provide a warning of melanoma. Now, Liz McClarnon is fronting a new Boots campaign, urging friends to check on each other's moles in hard-to-reach places, which we will talk about, Liz. Good morning to you, and good morning to Dr. Anu Bhatia as well. Good morning to both. You're fronting this campaigin, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
How come you got involved?
I got involved because obviously I do actually check my moles. I find it very important, and just recently.
Why? What made you think about doing that? Is it just something you're aware of anyway?
Yeah, you're aware of it more. It is more in the magazines about things like that, isn't it? And it's becoming much more of a fear. I mean, the whole cancer thing in general really is a big fear, and I started to get more, basically, and you just sort of go, oh my goodness, what's that? Yeah. And so now, obviously, I do get friends and family to check certain things, but before I go on holiday, I go to the doctors as well and get them.
Do you tan on holiday? I mean, do you look after your skin now, or perhaps when you were younger,
I do tan, but I don't. I'm not silly. I don't. You know, I start on a high factor and don't go to anything really low, and that is the truth, because I'm these days. There's no point. I really would rather use a fake tan than anything else.
Do you ever bother with sunbeds as well?
I used to. Before Christmas, I used to go on sunbeds all the time, but a friend of mine had to get something cut off her lip because of sunbeds, and I just thought, you know what, this is not worth a tan at all.
No, I know.
It's not.
And melanoma is the worst, isn't it?
Yeah.
Doctor, this can spread to the whole body.
Well, that's the cancerous form of the mole.
Right.
I think you need to be aware of your moles and, more importantly, aware of changes in your moles. And one thing that's quite useful is the ABCD sort of classification. A meaning asymmetry, so you look at your mole, sort of draw a line down the middle, and the two sides sort of don't match up. B is the border. With a melanoma, it's usually very irregular or jagged, and it might actually have what's called a halo, like this sort of area of redness. C is the colour, can be deeply pigmented, like the one on the right-hand side, or it can have several different pigments in it. And then D is diameter, or the size. So the one on the right is actually quite big. I mean, over 5 millimetres or a centimetre is quite sinister. But also looking out for changes such as itching, bleeding, and if it's elevated, that one on the right was kind of quite raised.
And is this problem getting worse?
It's becoming more prevalent, yes, over the last 20 years, maybe because we're detecting it more, but also, unfortunately, because we are exposing ourselves to the sun.
Yeah, so if somebody has something that they're worried about, what are they to do?
Please don't think you're wasting the GP's time. I know that researchers...
But you are made to feel that way a little bit.
No, well, I apologise in that case, because you really aren't. And, you know, I get lots of patients coming in who say that their partner or their friend has noticed a mole and can they get it checked out? And it doesn't take very long. On the whole, we can reassure you. And if we're not 100% certain, then there's special clinics in hospitals called suspicious mole clinics, and you'll be seen within a couple of weeks to a month and by a dermatologist or a skin specialist, and hopefully they'll be able to put your mind at rest, or if need be, take a biopsy.
And it's different areas are more likely to affect the sort of males and females.
That's right. Back's the legs for females and trunk for or back for a man.
I don't know why that would be.
Well, I think the essential thing is it's areas that are exposed to the sun. So please don't sunbathe and please don't go on a sunbed. And if you are, make sure you use lots of Factor.
Yeah, and avoid sort of 11 till 3.
11 till 3
like
when
that,
the sun's at its highest. Protective clothing, a hat.
Yes, all that sort of stuff. Have you had your summer holiday yet, Liz?
I have. I went to Greece, but as I said, I was very protective of my skin and went to the doctors beforehand and came back and went to the doctors.
And who was checking you?
Who was checking? My mum was checking me on holiday. It was my mum.
That's sweet. Thanks ever so much for coming in.
Thank you
Good luck
very
with the
much.
campaign. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
it'll strike a chord with many. Thanks for your advice as well. And for more on the warning signs on moles to look out for, as well as essential sun safety advice, all that sort of thing, it's on our website, gm.tv.